My name is Lytle, and I'll be hosting today's Thursday training. And welcome and Happy New Year. So today what we're going to work on is an open house flyer. You can see I have the basics of our open house flyer already set up with the picture and the contact information of the realtor. So we'll go through, be able to show you how to be able to create the products onto an open house flyer, as well as taking those products, developing a template, and then creating a TCA with that as well. The way we're going to be using GoToMeeting is I want you to open up your question area. And in the question area, ask any questions you may have. I did have someone ask earlier about working on the reinvestment strategy screen and be able to show how you can add payments at additional monthly amount payments at the 10th year. So we'll probably be reviewing that as well at the end of the call. If there's anything you would like to see in Edge, please put it in the question box, and let me see if I can address it on today's call. So I'm not sure if any of you were on our Tuesday coaching call. It was a great call about the different generations. And let me just go really quick into our Edge account, actually. And if you're going to follow along and create the open house flyer, go ahead and log into your Edge account. But first, I want to go to the Help button. Talk to you a little bit about Tuesday's call. You can access those besides our video tutorials down here. We have Coaching Call Archive. It's right there. So it's a quick way to access it. And Tuesday's coaching call is right here. It's Ann Lohr and Dan Keller. Ann talks about the general awareness of the modern mortgages, and then Dan talks about the modern mortgage experience. Ann does a great job about talking about the different generations, Gen X, baby boomers, and Gen Y. So that might be something you want to be able to listen to. It was a really good call, so I want to be able to point that out to you. So now what we are going to do is be able to create a report. What I'm going to do is, oh, okay, thank you for letting me know that, David. How's that? Do you see my Edge screen now? Always helps when you point to the right screen. So you should be able to see my Edge screen now. So if you don't, please let me know. What I'm going to do, perfect, Mark, thank you. So I'm clicking on the View All button here. And if you want to do a search, and basically what I want to do is show you a couple of items with the search. So you can either I could put in the word Liz, because that's my realtor, and do a search. And you'll see only my files here for Liz show. I have a working copy and a demonstration copy. Let me just show you really quick what I have done. I initially created an open house flyer. And you see I have products on here. But before I had done that, I made a copy, and that's what you saw initially. I copied it, and then I'm going to add my product. So if you're working with a realtor, it's a great way to use that copy feature and not have to update the realtor's contact information each time. And the way you could do that is through a copy function. So if we go back to Edge, let me go to the home screen. Now let's work with that View All button again. So if I click on View All, I'm not going to put anything in my search engine. I'm going to just show you what all displays. So you can see these are all the realtors I have in my account. If I click on that gray arrow to the left, you'll see my two files here. The working copy is the one I'm going to work with, but just to show you, this is the one that is completed. This is the one that has all the products. And you'll notice on the right-hand side I have a copy function and Add Analysis. So if I clicked on Add Analysis, this would just then copy all of Liz's information, all her contact, her logo, her image, and starts a new report without the products or any property. So you had Add Analysis, and you could just do that under Liz's name, see how it also changes there. And you have Copy Analysis. So with Copy Analysis, you could keep it in the current partner, which means it will copy all those products over for you and keep that realtor's information. But maybe you have products you want to show, but you have a different realtor. So if that's the case, you would just say New Partner. It'll copy those products over, and then you enter the information on the realtor. Okay, Mark's asking about when you view all, is that the friendly name field? So let's go ahead and cancel this. What you're talking about is this line here, and yes, Mark, that is the friendly name field. That's why when you've come to these trainings, we always suggest put something in that friendly name field. Open house flyers, it's great to put the street address, and because you'll have the one realtor, the easiest way to identify an open house flyer is by that street. So that's why I have the street address here. You can put the word purchase, investment property, whatever your report's on, and it helps you, so if you ever use it for a copy, and that's why you want that friendly name field, so your reference name. So yes, it is. So what I'm going to do is on my working copy, I'm not going to do any copy or add. I'm just going to double-click and bring open my report. So you can see how we have the contact information already populated for Liz, because I did that copy function. But let me hover my mouse over products. You'll notice that there's no products popping up here. If I click on it, it's all empty. So you can see how all that contact information for the borrower, see how all the data here as well as their logo and image copy over, but your products are empty. Your property, whoops, I copied my, because I did a copy and not a new product, it copied all my street information over. So let's start the process out. So what I have done is I just went to, and you'll want to look at, different ways in your area. I just went to Zillow and grabbed a house that was for sale around our area. So with that, I was able to get all the information here as well as the image. I have my realtor contact information here, clicked on it, and I was able to get Liz's information. So I was able to get a logo as well as her image and her contact information. So that's how I started out this process to generate this report. So once I've filled in her information, you only have to do it once. You'll see my reference name, my friendly name field. Moving on, you just go ahead and fill out that information on the property. So I went ahead and put my street, city, state, and zip. Moving on, we're getting the details of the property now. So I went ahead and I placed in that asking price, how much the square footage was, how many bedrooms, baths, and the link for the property itself. Then, if you go into more features, you can identify different features on the home. So I just went ahead and just indicated hardwood floors, garage, dining room. Also, I added 2 items down below in our custom features that you can use. So I said they're in the Saddleback School District and the Sun and Sail Association. So you have 4 items where you can put any type of information here. I know in Lake Forest they have different associations. That's the reason why I went ahead and placed that in there. And now once I'm done with all my information on my realtor, I advance the screen and you upload your image. And what I had done is when I was on that website, I just went ahead and saved my image to the desktop. So going back to Edge, I just then would go to a browse, go to my desktop, I selected the image, and I bring it into the system here. You'll notice there's 3 tabs, 4 images. And the reason for that is you can create a seller buy down along with the open house flyer. So if you had a house that was on the market for quite some time, instead of lowering the price, show them how they can do a seller buy down that rate, and show how much money they would save paying for the discount in the rate versus lowering that home price. So that's our seller buy down. And with it, you can put an image on your open house flyer as well as an image on your seller buy down. So that's the reason why there's multiple. You could just stop at 1 picture unless you're doing it 1 week. You might have 1 picture. You're doing the open house flyer again. You might want to change it up. So that's items for those 3 image tabs. We've been talking about having the image here as a carousel, so we're hoping to get that implemented so that way you can have multiple pictures. So we've done with our property information. So now what we want to do is work on our products. So if I go to our report, what I had done is created an FHA, a conventional, and a VA. So when you're working with products, you'll know the products for your area, the pricing of the home. You might have USDA products, and so maybe you want FHA, FHA ARM, and a USDA. So you would want to know what the products are in your area. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and make it simple. I'm going to do an FHA, conventional, and a VA. And with all 3 of these, we'll be able to work on product templates, fee templates, but it's also showing you the different fields between FHA and conventional versus VA. And with that, I know some of you have already been in Edge and working with it, but this also helps the people who are new to Edge to really understand the different types of products. So let's dive in, and we'll create that FHA program. I'm just putting my title as FHA 3.5% down. In the title area, keep it 12 characters and for your report. Otherwise, you'll have a length issue. So definitely keep it to 12 characters. It could be a name of the title of your product. You might have an internal name. That's fine. You can put that there as well. So you might have some product templates in here. So if I type an F, you'll see all the different templates I have done along the way. You can choose one of those and bring it down if you're following along with me, make it a little easier. But for those of you who haven't had a template set up, I'll show you how. If you're on an enterprise account, you might have templates already created for you. So they might be in there too. So to start from scratch, what I'm going to do is mark yes for FHA. I am now clicking on my down payment, so let's put in 3.5%, 4.5% rate, and 360 term. On the default, the yes, the 3.5%, and your term will all be defaulted. So once you put your price, choose a product template, everything will store for you. Also, those of you who are on an enterprise account who does have a product template set up, you can also take that and customize it a little bit, and I'll show you when we do our product template. So if you add any additional information or your taxes might be different than the template, this way you can make it custom for you. Moving on, let's go to our fees here. I want to put in 15 days prepaid interest. Let's put in our upfront MIP of 1.75, and I'm going to add it to loan amount. Both the upfront MI and the prepaid interest are both part of your default, so you have that. I also want to point out your points field. You can go ahead and place points in this area, hover your mouse, you got the dollar. You can also put negative. So if you have any type of credit, you can also use that field as well. So what I'm going to do now is go into our closing cost details. You can select it by state. Again, if you're on enterprise account, you might have some templates already made for you. If not, if you're originating in multiple states, you might want to add any kind of fee templates. Make sure you go ahead and select the state. And in today's training, usually I just bring down a fee template. I'm going to go ahead and explain a fee template a little bit more detail. It's the first of the year. We all need to get in there and start building our templates. So if you have one, if you have an FHA one, go ahead and pull that template, select it, and have it being brought down here. When we get to conventional, I'll show you how you can take a template and modify it and create it custom for yourself, so if you're on that enterprise account. So with it, I just want to point out you have add fee, add custom fee. I'm clicking add fee a couple times. I'll show you how to do an APR, non-APR fee, as well as a custom fee and a contribution. So we'll just cover all those bases today. Also, for anyone who is new, we do have an intro class on Fridays, and I really go through all the fields individually and really dive into it and tell you what all the fields are. So if you want to do that, that's on Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific time. Let's go ahead and do an admin fee. So I typed A for admin, selected my admin fee, placed in my dollar amount, and marked it as an APR item. So that's as simple as it is. All I did was press add fee, go to my drop down, and type A for appraisal fee, put in that dollar amount, and left it empty for APR. So that's how simple it is to do fee templates. Just best way, if you're creating them, get a fee sheet from your LOS system, have it next to you. They tell you the description, they tell you the dollar amounts, and if it's an APR item or not. So if you don't find your fee within the drop-down, we have the custom fee. So if you go ahead and click on custom fee, I can type in custom fee, and I'm putting in 2 days date, and it has nothing. You don't have to do it. Put in a date. I've been on my calls before. The reason why I put a date in is just to show you this is the template or the fee description I created today. So you have an option with these custom fees to do loan amount as well as property value for that percentage field. Property value is also the sales price. and if the fee is an APR item or not. So you have those items you could go ahead and customize for that custom fee. You'll also see down at the end of your list, you'll have that custom fee for any future loans that you'd want to use. So we have that in there. Let's go ahead and put in $500 for your custom fee. And now let's go ahead and talk about contributions. So with contributions, if I add fee, we do have a field in there called labeled contribution. With that, we have logic behind our behind that field, meaning if you look down here at the borrow paid amount, it's a little over $3,000. So if I went ahead and put in $1,000, you'll notice I've entered it as a positive. It just reduced that borrower's amount by that amount, and it's indicating that the lender's picking up that fee. You can also indicate if the seller's paying that fee. So you have the option with that field of contribution that has logic to enter as a positive. We go ahead and do the math correctly, as well as identifying who's paying that amount. If you don't want to use that description, let me show you how you could do that as well. So if you go ahead and click on Add Custom Fee, so we'll say Lender Contribution, press OK. Again, that is in my drop-down now. But because there's no logic, you created this, you're going to have to enter it as a negative. So take a look at the borrow paid amount here. As soon as I press return, it reduced that same amount, just like in our contribution line. So I went ahead and reduced it by $500, and I have to leave it as a borrow paid item. And the reason for it, because there's no logic, we had to use a negative, and now it offsets the borrower fees. So that is the reason for having to put a negative and keep it as a borrower, is because of allowing you to be able to create that custom field. So we do have a video tutorial on how to create your fee templates and custom contributions as well. So if you need more assistance with that, just go ahead and you can check out that video tutorial. So once you have a fee template created, you can always remove a fee by just pressing that trash can. And I'm going to reduce my contribution by 500, so I'm just going to leave it at 500. So once you create your fee template, you'll see in the lower right, Save as Template. Click on that. And I'm going to label this one as my fee template, FHA fees. And again, you don't have to put in today's date. I'm doing it just for the purpose of showing you. Again, if you originate multiple states, identify that state, then press OK. And you'll notice that you have your first template in your drop-down. At the end, we'll go ahead and check out our settings. But that's just a real quick down and dirty how to build a fee template. Once you have saved your template, you apply your fees to the loan. And you'll see how I'll go ahead and total those amounts and gray out the fields on your fees. So if you ever needed a modification, you would just go ahead and click on that, make your modifications here, apply to loan, and they'll update these numbers. So the next thing I want to point out is your prepaid escrows. You notice it's empty? When we go in our monthly cost screen, once we fill out this information, that other screen will populate in that field. So I'm opening up all my percentage fields for my factors, putting in 0.35, 1.25 is my estimated for hazard insurance and taxes. And this is where, if you're on an enterprise account, these fields might be filled out for you. And if that's the case, go ahead and override it with the figures that you have for your area, and then we'll create a product template for you. Let's put in that 1.35 for our FHA mortgage insurance. You also want to, on FHAs, click on Calculate MI on Balance. This gives you the declining MI FHA requires, as well as 360 for the life of the loan. And I don't know if you've heard, but they're going to be reducing the monthly mortgage insurance to 0.85. They announced that yesterday. I'm waiting to find out that date when it's actually going to take effect. But just if you haven't heard it, just let you know, they are reducing FHA's figure here. Let's go ahead and put in a reserve. 2 months for hazard and 5 months for taxes. Just a moment. excuse me, sorry, we're battling colds out here. So now I also marked it 12 months premium. So you got your 2, your 5, your 12 months premium. So if I go back a screen, now my prepaid escrows are filled out now. And in my closing cost detail name, you'll see now I have those 3 fields that are grayed out. And you only can make the changes to the dollar amount when you're in your monthly escrow. So to show you how they work together, if I remove my hazard insurance premium, applied it to the loan, it reduced my prepaid escrows, and you'll see that the box isn't marked anymore. So just want to show that. I haven't done a real slow fee template for a while on the Thursday training, so that's how you do that. Now let's go ahead and create our other products. So let's do those rather quickly. Add another product. Let's get in on a conventional product, 5% down. If you have a template, go for it, grab it, bring it over. You'll see on our, oh, and I didn't do it, no one reminded me. Before I move on my conventional template, let's move backwards, and we want to save a template. So let's save your product template. Go ahead, you can name it whatever you want, and you should know by now I'm doing to date. So I have that in there. So again, on the enterprise account, that's what you're making that change to, is you pulled down the data that you needed, modified it, customized to your local area. Now let's get to that conventional just to show you. There's my FHA template that I could use. Sometimes people use that as a template and just build from there. I'm keeping it no for FHA. Let's put in that loan amount. I think it was $599. And click on that percentage button to put in 5%, 4.5% down, and a 30-year term. So it's pretty quick just to fill in that information. Let's go ahead and put in our prepaid interest. You notice the upfront MI field is no longer there. It's because we did not mark yes for FHA on that first screen. That's what happens when you do. Let's pull down that FHA fee template we just created. So this is, if you're on enterprise account, this is what you would be doing. So you would select that product template down and make any kind of changes that are necessary to that template. So I just pulled down my FHA. My conventional has a less appraisal. My conventional also has a tax service amount. So let's put that in there, mark it as an APR. And that's the differences between my templates. So that's a quick way of also creating templates, using when you already have, modifying it, and always saving it. So let's go ahead and save our template. So there we go. And we're done with our template. So just to be able to show you the second way of doing a template. So we're going to apply this to the loan amount. Let's go to our monthly costs. Let's place those in there. I'm using 0.35, 1.25. And say their conventional amount is 0.67. You notice I'm not marking the Calc MI on balance because it's not FHA or USDA. I have 78 as my cutoff percentage, meaning once the LTV is at 78%, MIs drop for the loan. If you have any minimum time period for MI, say 22 years, you would just enter that in that field here, MI cutoff. What the system does is after 24 months, it then starts looking at the percentage to drop MI for the loan. So that's how those two work. Let's put in 2, 5, and collect 12 months premium. Save it as a template. Whoa, wrong button. Let's go ahead and save it as a template. I'm putting in today's date. Whoops, haven't gotten used to the 2015 year yet. And now we have our second template. Okay, we're going to create the VA product rather quickly. So any questions at all on product templates or fee templates, go ahead and place it in there, and we go ahead and make, I can answer those for you. So 0 down. So I'm going to show you something slightly different just to be able to show you a different way of doing things. I'm going to use my copy from button. So with my copy from, you can copy product to product. So I'm going to take the FHA because that's the most similar to my VA product. So I'm going to select that one, press OK. All the information filled down. I'm going to go ahead and put in 0 for my down payment, 4.25 for my rate. It's marked yes for VA. Advance my screen. My upfront or VA funding fee amount needs to change, so let's change that to 2.15. and I'm adding it to loan amount. If you changed any of your fees, just go into the closing costs, make any kind of changes here, and then always save it as a fee template for VA. And then you'll see how all my monthly costs carried over. So since VA doesn't have any MI, I'm removing that from the loan. You can leave these fields in here, or go ahead and remove that. I do have a question here. Just one moment. Okay. Yes, Andrea? Yes, it does make sense. I had to open up my question when I couldn't read it all. What she's asking, if I have templates saved, rather than recreating it, wouldn't I use those over and over again? Definitely. Always, if you have a template in there, you would always use those templates. You would only want to create a template if you're making any kind of changes. So say I use the template like I did here for FHA. I wanted to make change it to a VA. So I did. Now I'm going to save it as a template. If I was doing an FHA loan, I'd pull the template, move on, never have to create these templates over and over. So I hope that clarified that for you, Andrea. So let's go ahead, whoops, and let's save that as a template. So I'm doing that as my VA template. So we're all set. You'll notice I went ahead and pressed add another product for my fourth product. I'm going to leave this empty. I'm not going to create another fourth product, but I'll also show you how to remove this from the report. One more question, sorry. Okay, if you do pull down a template and say you change the term from 30 years to 20 years, it will make that change directly to the product, and it will not change the template. So unless you want an additional template with a different term or whatever you might have done, then you would go ahead and save the template. So hope that clarified that. Okay, next I'm just clicking through my fourth product that I'm leaving empty. I'm in my analysis screen. Contact information, it's pretty basic. Just fill in your information of the realtor as I have my tab open. I just copied and pasted everything in here. I saved my logos. I went into my browse. I have them on my desktop, just uploaded them there. And same with the logo. So next, moving on, I'm selecting an open house flyer. And then I have a seller buy down. So I was talking to you earlier about creating 2 reports with 1 record. That's how you could do a seller buy down. You'll notice at the base here, you can exclude products. Because my fourth product's empty, if I uncheck that box, it will not appear on the report. So I want to be able to point that out to you. Sometimes people put a product on, show it for the first time, and then if they find out maybe they haven't done discovery yet, found out they are a veteran, so they could go ahead and add that product, and it will go ahead and show on the report. Or sometimes they'll show ARM products that initially weren't sent. So just be able to show you that. Next on the presentation, what I do find out is a lot of people skip this screen. You want to make sure you put in some type of a presentation title, beautiful home, whatever they may have. Same with a pricing label, asking price, selling price, whatever you want to appear in front of the dollar amount. And then for notes, this is a compliance piece. You need to put estimated taxes and insurance are or are not included in your payment. And I'll show you on the report where this goes. We do have some client or lenders that want their report to reflect the payment amount or some additional text. So if that's the case, you can add additional text here. Sorry, I can't type and talk. So I can then show you on the report where this will display. You don't have a lot of room, but you do have a little additional room here to add onto your report. Now I'm in the presentation. If you've added a picture, it's not appearing on your report. Most likely this screen you haven't selected your image. So want to point that one out. And now we're done. So let's take a look on our preview. So we just generated our report here. We have the open house flyer with all her information as well. let me see, we're right at 9:30. So let me go ahead and before I start into the TCA to show you how you can link the two, provide that realtor not only the open house flyer with the financial information, you could provide them a total cost analysis and show them what you would be doing for the borrower. So that's how we're going to connect today's call. So with it, what I want to do first before we move on is let me go ahead and bring up my reflector. Just one moment. And we're going to talk about the mobile device for a little bit. So with the mobile device, if you haven't downloaded it, this is our app for the Mortgage Coach viewer to view the Edge reports. So let me go through this process real quick on how to download it. You go to your app store. I placed in my search, you'll see it in the upper left-hand corner. You can see I have Mortgage Coach in there. Press return and we'll search for our app. So you have the Mortgage Coach viewer. This allows all the reports to be viewed through an app. And we also have a Rate Watch app. And the Rate Watch is the same login ID and password as you use for Edge. So make sure you download both of these to your phone, to your iPad notebook. It's iOS as well as an Android compatibility. Once you do, you'll see that you'll have this Mortgage Coach icon right there. So I'm going to click on it, and what will happen, let me go ahead, I need to bring up something really quick. If you click on that share button, you'll see that I did that in the lower right-hand corner. That share button provides you the link ID. And what I'm going to do is enter that ID into my iPad. If you have, I don't have my emails connected to this particular iPad. If you had it and you clicked on the link, if you clicked on the link, it will take you directly to the report itself. So just want to point that out. Let me copy. I'm also in the chat box placing the link to this report. So if you want to be able to follow along, you could go ahead and open up. If you have it downloaded, you could go ahead and download that now. So what I'm going to do, you can see on the screen here, I just removed my whole link. All I'm doing is putting in that number. So what I'm doing is going back 16OU. Oops. 0Y. You definitely want to click on the link, you can tell. So once you've done that, then you can go ahead and hit that arrow here, and the report will display. So you don't have to type in that full amount, and that's what I wanted to point out to you. So what will happen is the borrower will receive the disclosure. So once they press I understand, they will see that mobile app. And with the mobile app, what you want to do is at an open house, it's best to actually have the mobile app sitting on the table than hard copies of the open house flyer. And with that, you can see how the difference is. If I click on Open Floor Plan, you can see how it has all the different information here as well as the graphs. If I click on the information up there, the More Info button with all the details. Then also if you click on Property Features here, you'll have all the property features of the home. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. So all the features that you had on the home will appear here. And what I want to point out, you have all your contact for your realtor. And you'll notice with this, you notice the logo is a little squished like that. If you ever see that, just email us at support with that attachment. We can resize it for you. It's stretching out that size, you know, it's really easy to fix. So you have all your realtor's information, all your information, and if you notice the upper left-hand corner, I have the button Share Report. So if I click on this, and this is why it's so important to have the link versus a hard copy. When you're talking with a person, you'd be able to go ahead and share this particular report, either email or a text. So if I went ahead and chose a text, I could go ahead and put in their number if I wanted to put any additional information in, and then you could go ahead and send that off. You see the send button. So you could do that, or as well as send it as an email. So you or the realtor can do this. It will go ahead and you can capture their contact information. You'll have it, And then once they receive this, they'll go ahead and have all your contact information as well as the realtors. So, and it'll be all in a electronic format, and it's so much better than having a hard copy. So Andrea is saying she cannot see the share report on my phone. It should be, depending on the type of phone you have, it should be somewhere around the contact information. I know the styles are slightly a little different between the different phones and such, but it should be, looks like that, and it should be on it. And if you can't find an iPhone 6, if you can't find it, can you, I have an Android actually, can you email support and they'll be able to assist you and be able to take that look at that in just a moment. Okay, so that is, to me, one of the best features. And same with having a total cost analysis. You should always have one created on your iPhone, iPad, whatever mobile device you have, and you'll always be able to share it. You can share the TCA, you can share the open house flyer. You want to be able to have that to be able to get contacts as well as them having your own. It's your own little business card. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize this, bring it over. And so now once you're done with your Edge report, you want to make sure you go into Generate Link. You have that link here. That's what you copy and you paste, and you place it in an email or sending them off in an email. And Hugo has a question on the mobile app. Can we create a profile from scratch without the link? Right now, Hugo, you're unable to do that unless you get a browser that has Flash. So on my particular case, I use, let me go ahead and bring this over. There's a thing called, you could just do a search. I use Puffin, this one right here. Puffin has Flash built in, and iPads don't have Flash built into the iPad. So if you have a browser, this one costs me about $2 to download. If you have Flash, you can actually then go from Edge, log into your Edge account through that type of browser, and make any kind of changes. And I believe the only thing you can't do is record a video. So find an app that has Flash within it, Hugo, and you'll be able to make any kind of edits. And that's always good, too, if you're out and about and doing Edge Live and making changes. You have a way of doing it. And we are coming out with an app where you would be able to edit directly from the app. So that will be coming out probably the next 6 months or so. Okay, so you have your link here that you want to go ahead and copy. Now you have add audio. So definitely with a realtor, you want to add audio. You might want to copy them. One, just a direct message to the realtor, and then another copy of that flyer to be able to have to send out for your borrowers. So click on record message. And with that, you want to go ahead and allow to use the camera. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori. So with that, you want to go ahead and record the message here, introduce yourself, especially if you're new to that realtor. Provide them a little bit about your background, what you can do for the borrower, your mutual client, and also mention the total cost analysis and the different loan options that you can provide that. So just make sure you have eye contact like I'm doing here and slowly talk to them, and it's a great introduction piece. So you want to go ahead and make sure you place a video on each of your reports. And Edge Live. We're going to work with Edge Live when we get to our TCA. So we're done with our reports, and if you remember, we saved templates for each of those 4 products, or 3 products. So let me show you, because we did that, and another way of doing it is just, if you want to take a product from an open house and put it into a TCA, just always remember to save the template, because I haven't modified my template. Save it just like OHF1 or just something minor, because eventually you're going to delete it. Because when you copy it this way, you will have the interest rate, things that are pertinent to this report. So once you clean up that template, but it is good to be able to have this at this point in time for a total cost analysis. I know that sounded a little confusing, but let me show you when we go out of here and show you how you can work it. So we're in our open house flyer. Now let's create a total cost analysis that will go with that open house flyer. So I'm just doing new client. And actually, because I like copy and paste a lot, let me go ahead and get that address. And then you'll see how I'm doing things slightly different. Instead of going to home, I'm just clicking on new client. And you can put whatever you would like for your title here. So I just put something like that. But you could put anything. I'm taking this from an individual to a marketing report. And then I'm also placing that address down in my friendly name field. So you can see how the TCAs also have that friendly name field. Partner email address, if you're working with that realtor, they might want to see all the email alerts for that particular property or for that report. So if that's the case, you could just go ahead and put in support, or not support, but the realtor's email address, and they're going to receive that email alert. So if you haven't seen the email alert, that's what they view as soon as the report has been closed. That's what generates this alert. It's when they actually minimize the report itself and close out. So moving on, I'm going to mark it as a purchase, put in my dollar amount. You can see how quick it is. I'm just keeping all the basics. I'm not touching anything, just going directly to my products. So FHA, 3.5% down. Now I'm going to go to my product template, pull over my FHA that I did today, and you can see how I have my 3.5, my 4.5, my term. So it's mimicking my open house flyer. Next screen, all my fees carried over as well as my upfront MI. So because I want it the exact same, I'm not going to make any changes, and all my monthly costs carried over. So everything, and when we go into settings, Andrea, you'll be able to see how they're slightly different between the template versus this full one. So that's how you can quickly create the TCA from an open house flyer. So let's go ahead and do that. Conventional, go to our templates, actually put in that dollar amount first. That's one thing we don't save is the dollar amounts in our templates because those are always variable. Choose conventional, you see the rate, term, down payment, fees, monthly cost. So now let's add another one and we'll get our VA product. So you can see how templates really do speed up that process. So, also shows that. Put in that amount. Let's get our VA template. Everything's saved. Moved on all our fees, our VA funding fee, as well as our monthly cost. Now I'm going to an analysis screen. You have our short-term, long-term, and I'm going to keep it on total interest paid. Once we're done showing you how to do this, we're going to go in and work with the reinvestment strategy. So this will be following just shortly. We'll touch base with that. Moving on, you can have your contact information here. You can always put a different You could put like a tag in this area, a great time to buy. I'll show you where that goes. We do have the address. You can always place the address on there as well. I might as well do that. Because this is a marketing piece, privacy doesn't. Okay, 92630. Moving on. We're going to keep it as a total cost. Here's our compliance piece with the taxes and insurance and our 3 products. So let's take a look here. And now we just created, let's put a quote date on that. Always want to put your quote date on. And you got your total cost analysis. So that's, you saw me just go through all those product templates, add them. It was really quick to create that TCA to go along with that open house flyer. So you have that. Now let's work with Edge Live because let's go ahead and raise your hands if you've worked Edge Live. So if you want to go ahead and do that, just raise your hand. Okay. So far, I don't have anyone. Okay, there you go. Kristen Marr. Hi, Kristen. How are you doing? So great. We have one person who's done it, Edge Live. Let me show you how that works. So let's go ahead and generate the link. And click on Generate Link. And Kristen, how is it, if you could put it in the question box, how is it with you using Edge Live? Have you mastered it? Is it easy? Is it great communicating with the client that way? Just curious on how you use it. And I love Edge Live. I mean, once you get this going, guys, you'll never go back. Okay, so I took my link here, and I'm placing it. No, it didn't carry over. Get that link again. Actually, let's see. There we go. So this is just as if the borrower clicks on it. This is the report they see. And you'll notice that the disclosure, just like on the mobile device, it went ahead and displays, and they have to click I understand. So what I'm going to do here is really quick, just set up my screen. Just be patient one moment. Go ahead and move this over. Get this page back. I do have two screens, and it's really easy to do it on the two screens, but what we find out is our recording doesn't work well if we keep it on two different screens. Okay. Okay, there we go. The difference between the two. Oh, great, Kristen. It is easy. I'm glad you're using it. And that's great because that's what we asked. She said she first practiced on a friend. It works great, and clients really like it. So great for letting me know that, Kristen. That's wonderful. So with that, and if you click on the link, let me go ahead and grab the link through that share button. If you click on this link, you can experience Edge Live and by viewing that report. So with it, the first thing, lower right-hand corner, you'll notice that there's one view. You'll see that button right here. That means one person's viewing the report with me. And that way, when you're talking to your clients and you're not quite sure if they have the report, you'll know right there if they have the report open or not. And if it's open a couple times, that also tells you more than one person is viewing it. Right-hand side, you'll notice there's no Clear All button. Left-hand side, there is. And the left-hand side with the Clear All button tells it your copy. So when you're talking to the borrower and you're highlighting fields, you'll see that on the left or right-hand side, those fields are highlighted as well. So this is what's Edge Live. It's live interaction with your clients through the report. So you can hold all kinds of conversations about the interest rate, their APR. You want to talk about their payment. Take note of the double asterisk that goes with the payment notes below, that compliance piece I talked to you about. Want to look at that payment stream? You could do that. You'll see how you can open up, and it opens up on their end, as well as the More Info button. So if you click on the More Info, you could discuss their payment breakdown with them, what the P&I payment will be, monthly cost. Flip it over to the Closing Cost tab. This is where you have your down payment, your LTV, as well as the lump sum of your costs and your fee details. So you can see how that works. And then also with the mobile device, all the fields will open up with the mobile device as well. So it drives not only a desktop presentation, which is what you're viewing, it will also drive the mobile device as well. So it's a great interaction tool to really be able to show those loan options to the borrowers and have an easy way of explaining it. So I'm clearing out all my highlights. For those of you who haven't highlighted, just take your mouse over a field and left click. On columns on a particular product, if you want to talk about an FHA product or the conventional product, I'm just taking my mouse on the title, clicking it, and it clicks the whole column at the same time. So that's Edge Live. And like Kristen says, we do suggest the best way to do it is learning it is giving the link to someone else in your office, a friend, a coworker, family person, and just practice with them. Talk to them, open the different fields, and really get comfortable with the report. So Edge Live is wonderful, and make it a habit. So then with our reports here, now what we want to do, so let's go into our More Info button. Let's talk about reinvestment. In the reinvestment area here, you'll be able to apply additional principal to, or additional amount of money toward principal. We also, on the conventional product, you can take the mortgage insurance once it's dropped from the loan and add it back into toward principal. And same with VA. They don't have any monthly mortgage insurance. So let's go ahead and show them by reinvesting the mortgage insurance into the principal, we're going to keep all these payments even by using that reduction principal. So let's go into Edge. I'm going to the analysis screen, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on analysis and then adjust reinvestment strategy. Okay, this is where you have a matrix, and in the reinvestment strategy, we do have a video tutorial. We are recording this call as well, but you'll have two areas. You have the upper area, which applies money toward principal, and the lower area where you can either apply money towards savings balance or an investment account. Up at the very top, it'll show you your monthly savings. So the conventional is saving $425 over the FHA, and VA is $616. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So $425.29, and as soon as I press return, each month they're paying that toward principal. They'll have their loan paid off in almost 23 years. So that shows you how they can speed up that process. Also, just to be able to show you if they're thinking about a 15-year term, you want to show them how much additional money a month it will be to make it a 15-year term. So you can show them that aspect as well. I just wanted to point that out. $425, $29, and $616.55. So you'll see how in the long run if they take that amount of money and they can apply it toward principal. So before we move on, let's go ahead and take a look at this on the report. I don't think it's updated yet. Let's take a look. Oh, it has. It's quick. So with that in the reinvestment strategy, you'll see that with that amount, y'all are level payments. I've added the $520 or $425 and the $616. So you'll be able to see that. You'll also be able to see the greater savings that they have over the long run. So we just made even payments by reinvesting that mortgage insurance. Now going back into the reinvestment strategy, just to let you know, you can also take that amount, if you don't want to put it toward principal, put it toward an investment account. So, and maybe you're working with a financial planner. You would just go ahead and put that information in here, and you could see, put it at 3%. You could see that at a rate of return of 3%, $425 that you're adding to it each month, by the end of the 15-year period, you'll have $96,000 saved. So that's another way of showing them how to be able to save money on their different products. You know, take that savings and reinvest it. So you have that. Now let's talk about reinvesting mortgage insurance. So what I'm doing is double-clicking on this field, and you'll see we have an additional matrix. So on month one, we're adding $425, and it's going to be added for the life of the loan, unless you'd say differently. Say for some reason in 10 years I know I'm going to have an additional amount of money I want to apply. So I had someone ask this question earlier, and that's why I wanted to point it out. If you put in the month 120 and that dollar amount, this is telling the system at the 10th year, start adding that amount of money toward principal. So this is where you can start the process. You know, you can start 3 or 4 years, X amount of money, because assuming that they're, you know, going to get an increase in wages, something like that. That gives you an idea of why you would do it midterm. So put it back to 1. Also take note, MI cutoff month 77 and 318. This tells you on the 76th month was your last month of mortgage insurance. On the month 77, they now have an additional $318. So let's reinvest that. So I'm going to add a line item. Month 77, so let's change that to 77. And what I'm going to do here is add the amounts together. So it's going to be 7, I'm really bad at adding my head, everyone. So you got 743.25 right here. Takes into account the 425 as well as the MI. So that's how you would go ahead and reinvest the mortgage insurance. And one other line item, let's do it on the VA side. So I'm going to double click on the VA product. Say the borrower knows that within the next year they haven't sold their house, but they know they will within the next year. They're going to come into quite a bit of money. They want to apply it toward principal, but it's a one lump sum payment. So let's say on the 12th month, they're adding additional $100,000 toward that payment, but you don't want it to add every month. Actually, you would do 116 to take into account that $616. So right now, that's what's going to happen every month. So you always want to remember to come back in month 13 and either place it at 0, or in this case, we were investing that additional savings. So you could see how we're investing the savings. The 12th month, we added the lump sum payment as well as that monthly savings. Then we got to make sure the next month that you put it back to the monthly savings, so you're not doing $100,000 each time. Let's press OK. And now you have a really nice freedom point. Let's press OK. I'm always advancing the screen because that is what triggers the save. So just want to point that out to you if you notice that. Let's go into the more info. And the reinvestment strategy, it hasn't updated, just one moment. Let's go in there now. And now you'll notice there's buttons here. So if you click on custom, you'll see that at the first month they're doing $425. Month 77, it's increased. It doesn't show each line item, but it will show you the flow. So you have that as well as the freedom point of each of those. And you'll notice even with the pale yellow, I could still highlight it. It just makes those words bold, so it stands out. And if you use the reinvestment strategy screen, always come in here and make sure you highlight those fields. So that way when they come into the screen, you're guiding them through these areas. So with that, that is wrapping up our Training Thursday today. If there's any kind of scenarios you want us to show on next Thursday's call, or a particular, like in today's case, copying from a EDGE report to an open house to a TCA, things like that. If there's anything you want to see, either put it in the question box here or email us at support. Always looking for great ideas. If you have a question, someone else probably having the same thing and probably wants it. So let me know your scenarios, and we could go ahead and show them to you. So with that, everyone, I want to thank you for attending today's class. And any questions, please email us at support@mortgagecoach.com, and we'll be happy to help. So thank you. Enjoy your day. And if you have any questions, I'm staying on the line for a while, so you can always put them in that question box. And what I'm going to do for a minute or so, just go into the settings. Product templates are right here in feed templates. This is where you modify those templates you created. Just want to point that out. So if you ever want to make a modification, you would do so in this area here. And then that will modify your template. Same with product templates as well. Okay, I don't see anything else coming through. If there's any kind of questions, again, put it in the box. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up this call.